Hey everybody, welcome to What's Up Wednesday. I just got finished reading an article in EHS today that's titled How Effective is Your Safety Program? And it got me thinking back a little ways. I remember I had a friend who was a safety manager for a very large general contractor in Seattle, and he took a job with a different general contractor. And that general contractor, who's now an enormous GC on the West Coast, had a safety and health management system and program that wasn't very mature yet. So my friend brought the program from one place to the next. He implemented it. He wrote the program, felt very good about it. Not long after, some inspectors visited one of his job sites and they issued a citation. And the title of the citation was Not Effective in Practice. And the title of this article that I'm reading is How Effective is Your Safety Program, which got me, like I said, thinking about that exact situation. So as we look at a health and safety program, safety management system, accident prevention program, injury and illness prevention program, whatever you want to call it, it varies from state to state. But the reason that we have them is that the OSHA Act, which was written in 1970 and released, required that companies develop a health and safety management system. So it's a law to start with. But more often than not, I see really strong written programs that aren't being implemented out in the field. And that's the issue, is they are not effective in practice. They're not being followed, and companies just really aren't even adopting them. They have them on a shelf collecting dust, and that's that. So I think one of the key aspects of developing a safety management system is that you need to do a risk assessment. You need to be able to identify all the areas in which you work and what the risk factors are. Because once you know that and you have that hazard inventory is what we call it, then you kind of know how to approach your work on a regular basis. So that's a key piece of it. The next piece is you've got to get your workers involved. They've got to be part of the solutions. When you have issues, when you have challenges, go to them. They know the work. Whether it's a carpenter, it's a laborer, it's a mechanic, whoever it might be, they understand the work better than any of us. And when there's a problem or there's a risk, they're going to be able to figure out how to solve it. So get them involved. Get them as part of the safety committee. Get them as part of an advisory group, whatever that might be. Write a program that people are going to use, they're going to follow, they're going to implement. If you do that, you're more likely to be successful. The next piece is education. It's so critical that we train people. And I'm not talking about the kind of training where somebody stands in front of a room with a PowerPoint and they read slides to everybody sitting in a classroom. That's not the most effective way, in my opinion, to train people. Training is interactive, it's two-way, and I think at the end of any training, there has to be some kind of competency testing, whether that's a Q&A, it's actual test questions, but we need to make sure that people retain at least some of what we're telling them. More often than not, I'm in a safety meeting and I'm watching people nod and pay attention, but I know that in some cases, half of them don't even speak English and they can't understand a word that's being said. So there's a perfect example of training that's not effective in practice. So keep these things in mind. There are a lot of little tricks to it, but we tend to get so caught up in kind of going through the motions that we do as safety managers and not really evaluating how effective our efforts are. If we start to focus on that, we're likely going to get much greater returns and rewards from our program. So hopefully you find that helpful, and we will see you next Wednesday.